Hello, 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 everybody. Come on in and join me. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Kenneth Overton, the host of the show Black Opera Live, which is sponsored by Black Opera Live LLC, Black Opera Productions LLC, which is producing the incredible documentary forthcoming entitled Black Opera. We are so excited. The script is expanding and we're adding lots of new bells and whistles, and we are so incredibly excited to present this movie to you all. But today, everybody, today, I am so excited and pleased and blessed and honored to have an incredible artist, an incredible human being, a wonderful friend, and just a darling of a woman. I just adore her so much. Pretty Yende is here. She's here, everybody. Here. And she's well and she's happy and she's singing. And we're going to talk about all the things pretty. So let me tell you a few things about her. Since making her professional operatic debut at the Latvian National Theatre in Riga as Michaela in Carmen, Pretty has been seen at nearly all of the major opera theatres of the world, including and not limited to the Royal Opera House at Covent Garden, Opera Nationale de Paris, the Metropolitan Opera, Teatro alla Scala in Milan, the Deutsche Oper Berlin, the Staatsoper in Berlin, the Bayerische Oper in Munich, the Opera House in Zurich, and where she is now in Barcelona at the Liceu. This past season, Pretty Yende returned to Paris for two highly anticipated role debuts. First is Violetta in a new production of La Traviata and the title role in Massenet's Manon. She will also appear hopefully for the first time, because I think COVID interrupted it, but we're going to pray that it comes back, a new production of Il Barbiere di Siviglia at the Dallas Opera. On the concert stage, Miss Yende embarks on a solo recital tour, making stops in Frankfurt, in Zurich, in Prague, and London, and Carnegie Hall. And further concert engagements include appearances at the in the Royal House in Liège and Bratislava. And she began her 2018-19 season with her return to Barcelona as Elvira in Puritani. And she returned to the Metropolitan Opera as Marie in La Fille du Régiment and sang her first Leila in The Pearl Fishers, receiving critical acclaim from the New York Times. In the role of Leila, suppressed erotic longing is subliminated into pure vocalism, lavishly ornamented with arabesques and grace notes. Shortly thereafter, she appeared at the Opera House in Paris as Norina in Don Pasquale and portrayed her first Amina in La Sonnambula at the Opera House in Zurich, and returned to the Bayerische Staatsoper to sing the title role of Lucia di Lammermoor and as Adina in Le Désir d'Amore. And she's here, everybody.
Wow!
She's here.
Hi.
So beautiful. How are
I'm
you, my
fine. I'm
dear?
fine. Thank you. How are you?
I am wonderful now that I see your face
Thank
and
you.
hear your gorgeous voice. My goodness. Hi, Patrice. Yes, you're right, Patrice. She can sing and act, honey. Yes. Oh my goodness. Everybody loves Pretty Baby. Everybody. I'm
Thank
so glad that you're here. How are you
I'm
doing?
so happy we can do this.
Me
I'm so
too.
happy to be here with you. I feel happy now, more happy.
Fantastic. Oh my goodness. You're a busy lady in these crazy uncertain times. And I want to talk to you about all of that as we go on in the interview, how you've managed to make all of this happen. But would you take our audience all the way back to Piet Retief? Is that how I pronounce it?
Piet Retief.
Piet Retief,
Yes.
South Africa. Tell us about the little girl from your village and how classical music and opera came into your life.
Well, I was very fortunate that I was born from a family that really loves music, because I remember every night after supper at home, we used to have music, we'd sing hymns. I mean, my grandmother taught me, was the first person to teach me how to sing, because she would teach me these hymns that
Mm.
when we got to church, I'd had to, stand in front of the congregation and, start to sing. So at 5 years old, that's when I started actually my solo career. And the love of music and the seed of music was really implanted in me then. But then opera only came to my attention in 2001.
Mhm.
And it was just one night at home watching TV, and I heard this music on TV. And it was something that was really supernatural, because I knew music. I knew music from the church.
Yeah.
But there was something more about that kind of music that I somehow, my heart knew what it was, but my mind did not know what it was.
Yeah.
And so I went to my high school teacher the following day to ask him what is this? I heard this, I was watching TV and there was this ad and they had this music. What is it called? Because I didn't even know it had a name. And he tells me, Pretty, it's called opera. I was like, oh, it has a name. So that means human beings can do this? Like, it's what they can do. He laughed, of course, because I was so naive. I could not believe that we have such a gift, that we are capable of touching people in that way, or be touched in that way, that goes beyond our physical senses, but we know what it is and we
Yes.
need it, and it's a gift, and I wanted to be part of it. So when he told me it's called opera and it's humanly possible, I
Yes.
demanded him to teach me, because my grandmother taught me how to sing. So I can do this. Just teach me how it's done. I can do it. Thankfully, talent was there even for opera, because it's one thing being passionate about something and then there's not enough talent. So thankfully, the Lord gave me the talent. And so when I was being taught, it has, brought so much fruit to my life and to so many people, that unintentionally, because I'm
Yeah.
still in the quest of what does this magic, how does it happen? And I want
Yeah.
to be part of it. I want to take it and give it to somebody else.
Yes, that's fantastic. So how's your family sort of adjusted to this career that you have made for yourself?
Well, them, I don't know, but even myself, I'm part of the big deal of, like, how can anyone dream so much?
Yeah.
Because all I ever wanted was just to sing, how to make this magic, how to be part of it, how to share it, because I was brought that way, that
Yeah.
if you have something good, you share it. And I wanted
Hmm.
to share that. But I'm very, very blessed to have them in my life, because they never cut my wings. They
Mm.
had to, they decided to have faith with me, for me. So
Yes.
as a family, we've been journeying together onto this unknown, and have been very blessed with incredible opportunities.
Yes.
And it's been quite an adventure. It wasn't easy at the beginning when I told them that this is what I wanted to try, because I
Hmm.
had already been offered a few scholarships to, because before music, I wanted to be an accountant.
Oh, wow.
So, yes. And so when I said to them, no, I need to find out, is this what I need to do in my life? Can it, I had to make a deal with them. I said, if in 2 years, nothing shows that I'm supposed to do this, I will change the course and go back to accountancy. But I have to tell you, Kenny, the first week I was in the South African College of Music, I knew that I needed to be there, because not so much about the singing, but the mentality and the mindset of the colleagues, how they talked. Oh, you can't have that because, you have that. And I would say to myself, what if you can?
Mm.
What if you can every time? Oh no, you can't get a major role if you're a first year student. What if you can? And I did. Oh no, you can't get 90% on your exam, singing exam, because it's impossible. And I said, what if you can? I did. So for me, it felt like it was more than just the singing. I was intrigued about inspiring somebody who thinks it's impossible, rather than the singing, which is very strange.
Yes.
Was
Yeah.
very true, because I guess because of just the optimist that I am, and the person who wants to believe goodness,
Hmm.
I felt more intrigued by all the impossibilities, thinking, what if you are the possibility? So I
Yes.
knew that this is where I'm supposed to be.
Now, what city is the conservatoire in that you
So I
went
went to
to?
the South African College of Music in the University of Cape Town, in
Uh-huh.
Cape Town. Yes.
Fantastic. And so, is it like in the United States where you do 12 years of school and then you go into college? Like how old?
Exactly.
The same. Okay.
Yes, it's the same. So I finished high school at 17. Oh God, I feel old.
No, no. You're just 22, my dear.
So it feels like yesterday for me.
Yes.
So I finished high school at 17. And then I went to study music for the first time in the University of Cape Town
Uh-huh.
for 5 years. It was a diploma for 4 years. And then I added 2 years postgraduate studies with my voice teacher, Regina Davids, because she felt like I needed more time,
Mhm.
in South Africa before I went to study in La Scala.
Now, did you have sort of voice training before you went to the conservatory, or did you just go there with this natural ability and they said, yes, we will take you?
So it was a bit of both.
Okay.
So what happened was, once my high school teacher told me that it's humanly possible, and I demanded him, to teach me, he advised me to join the choir.
Mm.
And then I joined the school choir. I did not have the possibility to sing that way. I didn't know how it's done. So he said, because I sang like this, small voice, and I was intimidated by everybody who was singing amazing in the choir.
Yeah.
And then he said, Pretty, I think you should just stick to your, business studies, because you're finishing high school next year. You don't want to waste time.
Right.
But I could not let it go. I could not let it go. I would actually stay up on Sundays and search the radio of
Mm.
classical music so that I could familiarize myself with it. And then a few weeks later, he came to me and he said, Pretty, do you remember the song that you told me about that you heard on TV? I said, yes, sir. He said, well, the Department of Education is introducing opera to schools. And one of the
Mm.
pieces that has been prescribed is the song that you heard. And I said, okay, sir, I don't know how to sing, but at least teach me the song. And that's how the journey started.
Wow. What
That's
song was
how
that?
it was the duet from the Lacme by Dilip, the flower duet.
Uh-huh.
So that's how it all
That's
started.
And it's so interesting because they do use that song a lot for commercials and for wine and food and all of that.
All the good stuff.
All the good stuff. But yeah, so when you got to the conservatory, of course, there's lots of kids who are wanting to do what you do, and then you get a role in your first year. What was the role, and what was that like?
So, luckily, I had my voice teacher who said to me, I'm very happy. Her name is Regina Davids. I'm very happy
Hmm.
that you don't have so much choral background, so that I undo that in order to actually help you develop your voice. Because in South Africa, we have a huge choral tradition. And so in a way, it was easier for us to, to journey into finding my voice. And of course, I felt very intimidated because it was very raw, and it still is. It continues to grow. It never ends. The journey of discovery and the journey of the voice is like a human being. And so I got very intimidated because everybody sounded much more advanced than me.
Yeah.
And then the school director, Angela Gobato, wanted to offer me Fior di Ligi on the first year. And my voice just says, no, she's too young. Wait for her. Wait, she needs time. She needs time. So luckily for, having her, I was able to actually have the infancy of starting how to study voice and to have the first steps, the proper first steps, for the background that I needed to for the full tree to actually blossom.
Wow. Amazing. That's
And so
amazing.
actually the first role that I did was then not on the first year, not on the second year, on the third year. I did Helena in Midsummer Night's Dream by
Benjamin Britten.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Which for me was a disappointment, because for me, opera is not English. Opera
Right.
is Italian. Opera is
It's
French.
French, it's
It
German,
was a
yes.
horrible experience, but it was incredibly thrilling. As far as performing and being on stage. But I was very disappointed that why does it have to be my first operatic role? Because it's in English.
So then, okay, I met you in 2008.
Yes.
We were both in third grade, clearly.
Yes.
and, and you were a part of the Cape Town Opera's production of Porgy and Bess.
Yes.
And you were singing the role of Clara. And I remember they invited 5 Americans to come over, and because there were 30 performances in 1 month.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Very crazy.
So
But
crazy.
we did it.
We did it, right? We did it. And so that's where we met. But I remember before two things that were very powerful to me. One, before every performance that I had to sing, I would walk to the opera house and you were already there.
Really? I don't even remember.
You were already there and you were practicing and singing other repertoire. And I could hear your voice from the street as I was approaching the opera house. And I'm like, wow, she is really, really dedicated. Wow, wow, wow. Oh my God. And I just found that to be inspiring, even for myself. I mean, because Porgy is a whole different situation, and I was always trying to save as much energy as possible. So, but to hear you sing every day your other repertoire was so fantastic, and it's such a lesson to everybody. But then, when I would say about 15 minutes before the show would begin, all of these South African singers would gather and you would sing your own music before the show. And it was the most beautiful sound that I think I've ever heard in my life. Where does that come from? Is that sort of learned? Is it expected? Or is it just a part of who you are?
It's a huge part of who we are. It's a huge part of even in our DNA. We carry so much. I mean, music is a big, big part of Africa in general. But as South Africans, we've been through a lot. Our parents, grandparents, ancestors have been through a lot. And what keeps us going is music. Our fathers would sing in the mines while they are working hard, digging gold and mining. Our mothers would be busy at home, we would be on their backs and they'll be singing to us that, hey, tula chu, tula nana, tula sana, tuluma muzobuya eguseni, don't worry, little child, that dad is going to come back in the morning, that kind, even if our minds don't know, but our hearts know that. And it's a huge part of what keeps us alive. Basically, we sing when we are sad, we sing when we're happy, we sing when we're angry, we sing when we're confused. So most people ask, what is it? What is it that's so different with you guys? And there's no words to explain it except that when the sound is not just embodied by the physical body that you see and the gifted person in front of you, it's so much more. It's deep. Even if I'm singing a simple song, a simple comedic song, aria, it's deep because I'm not just one sound, like it's a sound of 1,000 years.
Yeah.
So I think it's so many dimensions, to the sound. we are privileged to to produce.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's still one of the most. I remember it now, 12 years later. It's just so beautiful. So I want to play a clip of one of the arias that I always heard you sing in
Oh,
Berlin from your dressing room, and it's one of my favorite arias as well. And you just do it so brilliantly and so beautifully. I want to share it with the audience.
okay.
Wow, 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 wow. Oh my God, that's so amazing. It's so beautiful. Do you realize it?
You know, I don't know. I don't know. You asked me, please send me clips that you like. I couldn't send any because firstly, I've never posted anything of myself online. Number two, it is so hard for me to see the performances because I look at it differently. I feel the emotions of what I was going through personally and what was happening just before that. All the difficulties that happened that you and your God know alone, that the world doesn't, know.
Yes.
And so luckily I'm in a better space. I could not even listen to it. Now I look back with gratitude because even through it all, she kept singing.
Yes. Amen.
She keeps singing. And now I'm thankful that she didn't stop because it wasn't perfect enough. She didn't stop because she was waiting for the right moment to do the impossible. She keeps choosing to live, because
Yes.
that's the gift of life, you know. So I'm looking now, I'm like, you did good.
Yeah, I would say so. Way more than good.
especially especially when I remember how many people said to me, no, you can't sing that repertoire, nobody with your voice and your color for skin, and you're too tall, you're too fat, you're too this.
Oh my
No, but
goodness.
who can give you a role? I mean, no, it's, just sing Porgy and Bess, maybe
Oh,
Aida. I was 23 years old. I was 23 years old. The reason why I was drawn to the bel canto repertoire, even before it was recommended to me, the music just spoke to my soul, especially
yes.
Bellini. And then when I got to La Scala, Mirella Freni was one of the teachers who said, Pretty, you have a beautiful voice, but you are young. Why don't you learn the bel canto repertoire? Obviously, you're
Mm,
going to get to be doing the big lyric repertoire in time. But if you start now, your voice, you can't manage it, just learn how
yes.
to sing, do the bel canto repertoire. So that's how I ended up choosing the bel canto route. And when I sang, that was the first bel canto thing I sang. This was the first aria that I sang in bel canto. And
Wow.
when I sang it, I felt like, this is home, this is where I could
Yes.
learn, this is where. And I couldn't sing the I always had good runs because my high school teacher loved Handel, so he made us sing a lot of Handel in high school, but I never had the high notes. I could barely sing a top C.
Really?
And yeah.
Oh my God.
I could
That's
barely do it.
unbelievable.
I could barely do it. But you see, now when I'm looking back, I say it's not so much that I didn't have it. It's the mentality and the mindset of everybody else who told me I didn't have those things.
Hmm.
And all they were supposed to do was just teach me.
Wow. Amazing.
Just teach me.
Yeah.
We are all here to learn. Let's just learn.
That's such an incredible lesson, I think, for everyone. Just teach me. Just show
Just
me
teach
how
me.
to do it, and I'll learn it and do it.
Don't, if you are a teacher, if you say you have been gifted and you are entrusted with a soul, because the voice is the soul, it's the heart,
Yes.
and you're saying that I can help you, help. But if you can't help, it's okay, you can't help, but don't ruin. Don't tell somebody, don't even try. Human
Yeah.
beings evolve. We learn by doing. We get better by doing, by living. We're not stagnant, we move. So
Yeah.
if you are going to tell somebody, don't do something just because you believe you can't do it, don't stop them,
Yeah.
because they believe they can.
Yeah. And what wise advice from Mirella Freni, who I feel had one of the most beautifully paced careers, that was so smart and so
Exactly.
artistically wise, every step, a very
Absolutely.
natural progression.
And she was one of the reasons why when I won the competition in Vienna, out of all the prizes, one of the prizes was the invitation to the La Scala Academy. And when I knew that she was one of the singers, one of the teachers, I said, oh, I'm going to go to La Scala to study with her. And only to find that she's actually going to be the principal of what my voice needed and how
Yes.
to go about and grow.
It's fantastic. My goodness. And then you just started to explode. You started winning all of these competitions and then doing all these roles. I'm not, because there's no sort of book or manual to teach you how to handle all of that that's coming so fast and on such a large stage and in front of all of the public. How were you able to sort of navigate through all of that in the very beginning?
In the very beginning, I think the best step that I took was, rather than going to Germany to work, I decided to go to Italy, where I would not be regarded as the next it girl and Star is Born kind of, cliche.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I had work to do, and I knew that I was coming into a world that I did not know, and I needed to be aware of what world it is so that I can make sound decisions, because
Yes.
I am responsible for my voice, for my gift, for myself, and I don't want to blame anybody because I didn't know much when I made such a choice or a decision. And so going to Italy was the hardest route that I took, because I knew that what everybody was promising me, I wasn't interested. I don't want to be a star. I didn't want to be a star. I didn't want to be the number one. All I wanted to do and still want to do is to find out, what can this gift do? What is this gift? How
Yeah.
can I enhance it? How can I grow? How can I, learn to be a performer? Because it doesn't end by just vocally perfection, but it also a big part of it is performing on stage.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big part of it is learning how to choose management. A big part of it is learning how to choose the right teacher, the person who's going to help you to also prepare the roles. And so I knew that the best decision would be as well informed as possible, so
Yes.
that I can be able to journey onwards.
That's fantastic, and you've done it so beautifully. It's like you wrote the book yourself, because you. I tell everybody all the time. I said, she is famous and she has all of this publicity and all of these opportunities and all of this energy around her. I said, but every time I'm in her presence, she's the same girl that I met 12 years ago. She's the same beautiful spirit, kind, funny, gracious, and there's not this sort of stereotypical diva attitude, this sort of aloofness, this sort of standoffishness that can come with the type of publicity and opportunities that you have had. Where does that come from for you?
Disappointment from people that I used to look up to.
Wow.
I would admire somebody online, and I'm like, oh my God, if I meet them, they could help me. They're probably nice people. And I would meet them, and they would be so horrible. I would
Oh,
ask myself, how can you be gifted with such beauty and a gift that surpasses anything that is humanly possible, and not be a human being yourself?
yes.
So I made a choice. I said, one of my dreams is to find out about my gifts, to grow and to learn as much as possible. But then the second one was that I want to make sure that I never change or forget that I'm just a human being. I want everybody who's going to love me online, admire me, and think that I'm the best thing that ever happened to humanity, that when they meet me, which I love and I appreciate and I receive it, but when they meet me in person, I wish that they can see themselves, because ultimately we are just all the same. Some of us are just gifted, to be having this platform and global, platform. But nobody deserves it. That's the other thing that I understood,
Mm,
that it's not just you that deserve it, it's for everyone.
yes.
So when I'm there as well, I know that I'm not the best, and I'm standing there. There's a girl who wishes that they could be where I am, somewhere around the world, and I've been given that opportunity to stand there. And so I treasure that so much. And you said something which was interesting about how it all seems quickly. For me, it didn't feel quick,
Mhm.
because the goals for me are always next to each other, so I don't feel the speed of it. It's only when COVID happened that I
Ah.
realized, wow, that was like a huge lightning kind of speed, but it didn't feel like that.
Wow. So, okay, tell us, because I was so blessed to be able to be there when you got the phone call to make your Metropolitan Opera debut in Le Cantonnerie. How
Wow,
did
that
how
was
did all of those things fall into place?
so I had just finished. It was my last year in La Scala, the academy, and I was home for the holidays actually in December when I got the call from my late manager, Bruce Zemski. I owe a lot to him, a lot to him. So he said to me, Pretty, are you sitting down? I was like, yeah. And I mean, I brought no score when I was home for that December. My phone, I think he called and he could only get through my mother because I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to be home. I
Yes.
was done. It was a long season and I was very pleased with that. I was like, I'm done. I'm just having a break. And then he said, Pretty, are you sitting down? I remember I went to my mother's room and I sat down and he said to me, how would you feel about making your med debut in a month? I said, what? In a month? What do you mean? What do you mean? Because it's been my long dream, yes, but it has to be calculated,
Yeah.
because part of learning how to navigate everything is calculated risks, risk taking. He says, no, the Met had a soprano who has just withdrawn from the conservatory, and we believe that you can do it.
Wow.
I said, okay, what's the opera? Le Conte, Rossini. I love Rossini. It's in French. I love French. How many acts? 2 acts. Oh, only 2 acts. For me, the easiest part is learning the music. I learn very quickly.
Uh-huh.
Very, very quickly. It's something that I just learn very quickly. The longer process is the technical aspect of it and putting everything together, for a performance and navigating live performing, because you can study in the room with the voice teacher and you're safe, but once you're there, every time you open that mouth, every time you walk into that stage, it's a new territory.
Uh-huh.
So you prepare as best as you can. And so I said, okay, give me a moment. And then when I remember that I was actually studying the aria when I was in La Scala, the first act aria of the contest, and I was like, okay, when I listen to the entire opera, the big chunk of it is actually the aria, because anything else is more ensemble work.
Yes.
And it's so funny because when I was studying the aria, one of the teachers just said to me, why are you studying that aria? You can't even sing the opera. Just stop singing the opera. Well, turns out I was preparing myself for the Met debut. And I said, okay, I will jump. I said, yes, I will go to New York. The reason why I was only able to learn it properly in a week, it was because Rossini has many editions. And it was impossible then for me to have a PDF online or, to get the score to come to me as quickly as possible. And I knew that if I want to learn it, I want to learn it the proper way, so that.
Ay, ay, ay.
I went to New York, and 7 days before curtain up, or maybe 2 weeks, probably 2 weeks or something like that. And then it was 7 days, because when I came on that day in the morning, there was a Sitzprobe already. So that is usually a few days before you go on stage, right?
Oh my God.
And I entered this incredible room, and I was like, oh my God, I'm at the Metropolitan Opera House. Me, I'm here. And then one of the colleagues came to me. He's like, so who are you? I said,
Wow.
I'm Pretty Yende. And then, what role are you doing? I said, I'm doing the Countess. Luckily, the conductor said to me, Pretty, you don't have to sing this, it's proper. We have a singer who can sing. Then we are going to talk together and go through the role together before, you sing it. And then he said to me, this colleague said to me, so do you know the role? I looked at them and I said, no, I don't know it.
Oh.
I'm about to learn it. So that was my journey to the Metropolitan Opera House. Exactly.
And now, watching the performance as it was happening, I would not have known or guessed any of that because you handled it with such, and it was comedy too. And so you had to have comedic timing as well as all of the vocal acrobatics and all of the intricate staging and all the gorgeous costumes that you had. My good, that beautiful purple. Oh my God, just gorgeous. And then, do you remember what I said to you backstage after the performance? I said, I didn't know that you could do all of that with your voice. And you said, I didn't either.
It's true. You never truly know what you can do
Yeah.
until you are in that moment. But I think I was prepared. South Africa, the kind of background I had, from the South African College of Music prepared me to take that risk because I'd learned how to move on stage, how to be on stage, and I'd learned
Yes.
how to I love to act. That's another thing. And so also I was just supported by the entire cast and the entire opera. Juan Diego was one of the biggest supporters, during the entire run. And just between you and me, I didn't sign the contract until the first night because I was sure they were going to send me home.
Oh, no.
Because I said to myself, but the girl who's singing, she knows the role. Why can't they just let her sing?
Oh, right,
I
right.
was so sure because they have covers who
The
are
covers.
excellent, who are well prepared. So I was sure they were going to send me home. But luckily, I guess I was destined to sing the role, and it worked out.
I would say so. I would say so. After it was over, what does your mind do? Like, how do you decompress after such a very sort of heightened experience like that? Because there's no sort of bigger moment or a bigger stage or, bigger story. Beautiful South African young lady trained at Teatro alla Scala, gets a phone call to fly to New York to sing a lesser known Rossini opera in 7 days, and she does it, and it's a triumphant success. What then happens the day that it's over?
Well, let's go back to the opening night.
Okay.
So my actual opening night was my first proper run through of the entire opera. Was
my
my
God.
proper one. I fell just before.
You did?
I fell on opening night without even, having sung a note. I fell. A big part of me felt like I was a replacement. I'm not meant to be here. I'm not famous. People pay to come and see people. I don't deserve it. I'm just a replacement. Those are all the thoughts that are wrong. And you don't need such thoughts in a performance. And so it had to take a drastic wake-up call for me to be there.
Yeah. Yes.
I remember entering the stage and I could literally feel each and every heartbeat, and it was packed. The first night was fully packed, and I fell. And when I fell, I was like, what am I doing on the floor? What am I doing on the floor? I fell. No, I don't fall on stage. Why did I fall? Because I missed a step exiting the stage, and everybody came backstage. I remember the staff, they were so worried, did I hurt myself? Can I continue with the performance? And I was like this, like, I fell. Why did I fall? I never fell on stage. Miss Yende, we understand. Can you tell us, are you okay? Can you yes, I can sing. I fell. And that moment, I woke up and I was there. I didn't feel misplaced because it was just a distraction in my mind. And this thing, it's a mind game.
Yes.
If you don't control it, if you don't learn how to tame it,
absolutely,
it is going to take you from one hell to the next. So I come back in now with bruises and all, but I'm fine. But I'm there. And then I sing. I sing the first part of the aria, and then I finish the first part of the aria, and the mat goes crazy. The mat goes crazy. And Juan Diego is like, they should let you do an encore. He should let you do an encore, because they would not stop, admiring me and just loving me. And then in my head, I was like, you see? They love you. Where were you? And then when I sang the Cabaletta, it was even worse. But the entire night, everything was just like, I can't believe this. The following night, the following days, all I could think about was, why did I fall? And then I made the huge mistake of reading the reviews, and all they talked about was the fall. I remember talking to Joyce Dudonato. All they talk about is just that I fell. I fell. They're not talking about anything else. He said, but there's only one debut. Remember that. Remember the love and never forget it. So you hold on to that rather than the black and white notes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was exciting, Patrice. It was a comedy, and I was crying. It was so it was so great. My goodness. So then obviously the phones start to ring a lot after a big success like that. And then the managers are doing their job, and then you have your dreams and desires and wishes and wants. And so when you sit down then with your team after a big success like that, do you then chart, well, what other roles do I want to do, or what other houses do I want to sing in, or what's the next step for you?
So the next step was all these opportunities that were presented to me, and I had the privilege to choose with roles. What would I like to sing in the future? And dream roles. How do we move forward? Because the Met was very pleased with me, and our world is very small. She had big success at the Met, and then immediately I jumped in Vienna, same opera, and so what goes on then is to try and not get overwhelmed, and try and then decide how you move forward. With all the offers, I think I said no to many, many offers at the time, because I knew that if I want to sing as long and healthy as I would like to, you can only enjoy one triumph at a time. When they become too often, too many, they lose substance.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that one of my mentors said to me, Pretty, whatever success you can have, whatever opportunities you can have, learn not to be greedy.
Wow.
Learn not to be greedy. You can do one success in 6 months, and that's okay, because you're not only thinking 5-year career, you're thinking 50 years. You can do 4 triumphs in a year. That's enough. Because it's very easy to then hunger for more.
Yes.
And I'm learning it can never be enough. And that beast is always hungry. So you
Hmm.
got to learn which one do you
Yes.
feed, because you are only human. The machine never loses momentum because it doesn't have, doesn't end. It's always grinding. And
Yeah.
so I was then able to sit down and say, okay, fine, I'll do that. I will say no to this. Sometimes also with my team, we would argue, oh, Pretty, just, maybe do take it. And in my heart, I don't think it's a good idea to take that. And that's why for me, it was important to have a team that I could always say no to, because we are collaborating. And I have a responsibility for my gift, because ultimately, you cannot give that responsibility to anybody else because it's yours.
Wow. I'm learning so much from you. I mean, these are beautiful lessons and pearls of wisdom that I think all singers, and particularly young singers who are just starting or about to come into this sort of career, it's a beautifully objective way to look at how it's done. I mean, of course, everybody has their own path, but I think your path is so extraordinary, and you handle it and are handling it uh, so beautifully. So, what are some of your favorite roles that you have done? And then what are some things that you haven't done that you're looking forward to doing?
Okay. I think one thing that probably should always remain in our conversation is that I'm still a young singer.
Young, still young and fresh and vibrant
I'm
and
still a
learning.
singer and learning, and I've just been so blessed to have such important uh, um, uh, um, engagements and the privilege of incredible triumphs. But I still have a long way. I haven't done so many roles to say that this is my favorite role, because I've done it so many times.
Hmm.
But I've enjoyed singing Adina, for example. It's a role that I enjoy singing very, very much. But a role like Lucia, actually, when we were playing Lucia, I have all these memories of how many hours it took for me to convince myself that
Mm.
I could do it, because somebody said, this is something that, this is the route where we feel like can grow from and even learn from. And out of all the roles I've done, Lucia is one role that has taught me so much of what it means to be a performer, to be a singer, and not to jump stages because shortcuts in learning a role, and technically difficulty, learning how to keep going even if it's not as pretty as you thought it would be, not because you're not prepared, not because some roles fit you like a glove, some
Mhm.
roles just need more time, some roles are not right for you. So you have to have the humility to know that. But Lucia has taught me incredible tools that I am applying in each and every role that I'm doing. So I'm very grateful for roles like that. And I've just debuted La Traviata.
Mhm.
I was very fortunate to have a new production just for me.
Yeah, it was so innovative and exciting. I love the clips that were online with all of the projections, and the projections that were also of you and your colleagues
Right.
as well, telling the story. It was fantastic.
I think it was one of the most fun way to most near to me in a way, to be introduced in this historic role that everybody knows in Paris, in Garnier, new production, Hollywood director, a
Yeah.
person in incredible cast. And I wouldn't have taken that route if it wasn't for the lessons that I've learned from Lucia, because it is the extreme, Bel canto is Lucia, and with Verdi, Violetta is one of the most important of his heroines.
Yes.
And I'm very grateful for where I believe we're going vocally. And the dream would be to sing the Three Queens one day.
Right. Donizetti, yeah.
Maria Stuarda, Anna Bolena. I would like to sing in the far future, voice willing, Norma.
Uh-huh. And so is it still having that affinity for bel canto that leads you to those choices and desires?
Absolutely, absolutely. But now I'm also just looking at enjoying beautiful lyric roles that
Hmm.
I'm going to be adding in my repertoire from the French repertoire, like Marguerites. I'm gonna add
Ooh,
in South, like maybe a couple of Mimis. Who knows?
who knows?
Some Lius, you know, and just to see to introduce because it's a different. Actually, I felt that when I debuted Manon
Mhm.
and singing the Traviata, another path has shown itself, and I need to respect that. I need to have the humility to accept what my voice says, because it is the one that determines the path.
Yeah.
And this was one of the most important lessons that were given to me by Montserrat Caballé. She said to me, Pretty, don't sing roles that you with the voice that you will, don't sing roles that you will sing roles with the voice that you have now.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So now Adina says yes, but if I start singing Norma now,
Oh, no, no,
I
no,
will
no.
never have a
Yeah.
Norma then. So learn to listen to your voice and let it guide you.
Fantastic. Well, you mentioned, or you didn't mention, one of my favorites of you, one of my absolute favorites. And I don't think I had ever seen this opera live before. But
Yeah.
of course, when you brought it to the Met, I had to be there and you were marvelous. And this is a short clip, but it was a moment. And I'll explain to you this moment after we watch the clip, but it was so special.
Okay.
Oh,
I love Marie.
oh,
Love
I love
Marie.
Marie for you. I love Marie for you.
Ah, I
What?
love that girl. Actually, Adina, Marie, and Rosina. Those are the
Ah,
three roles that I guess I don't know what it is, but Marie is pretty special.
yes. I had brought Tiffany Jackson with me, and we went on a date to see you do that, and we were just holding our breath like the whole time, because right before Javier had tossed off 50,000 high C's,
Yes.
the audience was screaming, 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 screaming. And then you snatched the entire Metropolitan Opera back down and you held them in your hand with that
Oh,
beautiful, beautiful display of artistry. It was because a lesser artist could get sort of intimidated by the raucousness that had just
oh, it is
ensued.
intimidating.
And then the way that that is written, it was masterful. It was masterful.
Very, very hard. I had to learn. I had to learn to. That's the thing about being human, which is something that I said to you that I wanted to keep this with me, to be happy when somebody succeeds and triumphs in front of me, to be happy,
Yeah.
genuinely happy for them, because you are always surrounded by glory and greatness around you. So
Yeah.
you can't afford to be so small-minded, to limit. I can't afford to limit myself because I'm thinking that I should top that. If that was
Mhm.
the case, the score wouldn't have been so perfect and balanced by Donizetti.
Yeah.
It just helps even more when you have wonderful colleagues like Javier, who's a great, great friend of mine, that each time he sang, I was backstage and like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But then I had to learn, because it was the second time singing, that it was very tough. Physically, oh my gosh, I've never jumped so much, never ran so much, never ironed so much on stage singing that opera. It was physically intense. And the French dialogue, and.
Yes.
But one of the things that always grounded me after that was to remember what my mentor in South Africa used to tell me, Angelo Gobato. He said, what kind of an artist do you want to be? Do you want to be the kind of artist that sings everything perfect? Everybody forgets the moment they go home because everything was just so perfect. Nothing wrong with perfection. But there's other part of artistry that goes beyond the black and white notes where you actually communicate.
Yeah.
And I held on to that in this area, which is very difficult to pull off after such incredible singing and hype, and height of the Amezami. I had to trust the music.
Mm.
I had to trust the music. And one of the principles that I'm learning and still instilling myself is that I don't have control who applauds and how much they applaud. The only ground I can only have sort of control is the music and the stage. So whatever I'm not able to control should not be my business.
Right.
Shouldn't be my business.
Absolutely true. I agree. I agree. It's out of your control. It's none of your business. I love that. I love that. You were
And so, sorry, and
no, no,
just
no.
one
Go
more
ahead.
thing. And so Donizetti, when he wrote the Amezami, he knew the kind of flavor he needed for that particular moment in the opera.
Yeah.
But equally, that height has the same depth as the aria that would follow with Marie.
Yeah.
And that's why, in a way, it balances.
Yeah. And I remember the next day after the premiere, they were raving about the performance, but they zeroed in that you were doing your clicks. And will you tell the audience how that came about, that you did them and then you kept them in for the run?
So what happened was, when I
And,
knew that I was going to do the
and
role,
explain what they are
okay,
in your language.
it was mumbling. So when I knew that I was going to sing this role at the Met, I debuted it in Spain, in the Teatro La Maestranza. And then I knew it was an acting role, and I knew that what Natalie Dessay did with that role, it's untouchable. It's insane because she's an actress, you know,
Yes.
and I love to act, and I knew that I needed to be so comfortable with my physique, with my gift of voice, with my ability to act, and also in that production that is fairly free because even the dialogue had to be modernized. So one rehearsal, not actually in Spain, but actually at the Met. So we were rehearsing, and then she has these potatoes and she's complaining. She's basically mumbling that, you know, she's like, I have to do everything on my own patat. And I like that guy. I really, really like that guy, but I have to do the potatoes, you know. So I'm not fluent in French. Probably I could have done it in Italian because I'm fluent in Italiano. By instinct, I just started speaking Zulu, complaining in Zulu. Complaining in Zulu. Because it was a gap at improviso, no? You improvise. I'm like, okay, I have to do the business, and you know, she has to talk and complain. It wasn't scripted. And so instinctively, I just mumbled in Zulu, you know, complaining that I have to do the potatoes, and I really like that guy, but oh my God, he, you know, I always have to be ordered to do stuff. You know, so I had to do that all in Zulu. So basically, that's what it meant. That was the perspective of that scene. And I have to thank Laurent Perly because he even allowed me to use my own curly hair instead of
Yes.
that white wig and red. Actually, it's red. So it was such a great experience for me to be able to do that and have some sort of, and that's why I felt probably out of everything I've done at the Met, I think that is something that I would like to be proud of.
Yes, you should be proud of it. And you look so beautiful. Your skin in particular was just so gorgeous. So gorgeous. And so as perfect segue, as a beautiful Black woman in this industry, at the top of this industry, are you aware of the sort of place in history where we are with sort of racial injustice as it pertains to the arts, as it pertains to society, and your place in that?
I think one of the things that I've always known, even way before when I left South Africa and became the first Black person in La Scala, I knew that it was going to be a new journey for me, a new journey for the Opera House. But I did not I probably underestimated what the state of affairs is. And I can only hope that it gets better because ultimately it's a loss not only to the art form but to humanity at large.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things that I've been fortunate is doing this repertoire, and there are not so many of us who are actually given the exact platform to be able to do them, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So to see you up on the stage with your beautiful curly hair, it was just like, wow. It was a
And I
big,
guess,
it wasn't lost on me and
right.
several other singers of color who embraced that. It's like, wow, there's somebody who really looks like me up on that stage.
Yeah, and I think that was the whole inspiration behind asking them that, can I please use my hair? Can I please use my hair? Because they would compliment my hair when I come to rehearsal, or come with a bun or buns or big hair. They're like, oh my God, we love your hair. And then I was like, maybe you should just let me use my own hair. You know, oh no, we'll ask Laurent, because there are also, you know, principles with that. When once a production has been sealed, it can hardly be changed.
Hmm.
But Laurent made an exception, and I was very, very happy to be able to do that because I got many messages that, thank God, I can see myself in you.
Absolutely.
And this is one of the things that I'm learning, that for some reason, what you most passionate about becomes somebody else's reflection of the possibilities of themselves too. And I hope that in any way, with what I've been gifted also on the global stage, I can be one of the people that probably breaks those barriers, because they don't have to exist. And I'm not the only one. I always say this: if you think I can do it, I'm not the only one.
Yeah, that's amazing. Amazing. And so, along those lines, too, it is not lost on the world that in the last 15 years or so, there has been this explosion of South African talent in the world of opera. And I wanted to ask you if you have any feelings about it, or if you know exactly why has it just now started to happen, and were there or are there South African singers before this explosion that the world didn't take notice of like they're taking notice of now?
Of course, many,
Yeah.
many.
Tell us who they
I,
are. I'm a big history buff and I love to investigate and
oh
seek
my
out singers.
gosh. I mean, before apartheid, there were many, many, many singers from South Africa who never had the opportunities that we're having. When I would try probably to put it into words and try to explain the situation right now, it is because we have better opportunities and possibilities that they never had. And it is such a privilege for me, and I'm sure with most of my colleagues too, to know that it's possible. It's not only this person or that person that can make it overseas, but it's possible for everybody who's determined and who has it in them to actually aspire an international career. you
Yeah.
know because one of the things that they used to say when I was in South Africa in the college, oh no, it's too expensive to go overseas, you can't do it. And I had to think, what can I do to put myself out there? I entered competitions, and then when I entered those competitions, I ended up winning them all, not because I was the best. I wasn't competing.
Hmm.
I was not competing to win. I wanted to see what other colleagues out there who have, basically known music at a very early age, if it was worth it for me to even pursue it. So the pressure of comparing myself to the next person or to do better than the next person wasn't there. I was just there. I was just saying, I found this. I don't know whether it's worth it. Do you think I can do it? And for them, it was something. And for me, it was less pressure. And actually, it was a principle that is sustaining me now, because comparison is a thief. And you are always going to be surrounded by somebody who's even much more than you, whatever. So I think it's just that we are lucky that we have the possibility of opportunity and time.
Yeah. And so then are you now aware, and is it a pressure that now little black girls and boys from South Africa are looking at you and saying, I want to be like that. I want to do what Pretty Yende is doing.
For a long while, I was asking, why would they want to be me? Because I don't do it better than they do. They're doing it much better than me. But I had to look at it in their way, because I don't know. My career has been extraordinary and unique, and filled with incredible triumphs that they said, if she can do it, it's possible that she can do it like that, and be there and be there and do that. Then it became an inspiration for them, and an assurance that they too can do it. And I feel privileged for that, for
Yeah.
inspiring somebody to be a face, to be a possibility for somebody to see themselves in my shoes too. In I can only wish them their unique journey, so that they don't walk on my shoes, because we that's impossible. Each and every person has their incredible unique path, and I can only wish them success.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So I want the audience to know a couple of other regular things about Pretty. Regular things. Like, um, are you a breakfast, lunch, dinner, or dessert kind of girl? What's your favorite?
Okay. I love to eat. Oh,
I know, I know, I know.
quarantine has been brutally beautiful when it comes to that. I got to be home and have mama's food for 3 months. I ate 1 kilo a dish and I did not regret it, only when I came back. I am not so much a breakfast person, maybe a lunch person. I don't know. I mean, every time is a good time to eat kind of person. But when I've got goals as far as, because I wanted to make sure that I don't lose again being me, just a girl with a gift, with
Yes.
incredible possibilities. I wanted to live and have a full life. So if I want to have an ice cream, I'm gonna have an ice cream, and then I will let you sing. You know, you're happy. I'm gonna protect you. Sleep early. Do what I need to do. But if I want to have a chocolate, I can have a chocolate. Or if I want to have my potatoes, my favorite is sweet potatoes. I love
The
it.
next time
I
you're here,
love
I'll
it.
have to make you some of my famous sweet potatoes.
Oh.
The next time you come
And
to
then I got to the States,
yeah.
and I got to the States and fell in love with cupcakes. Oh,
I know.
cupcakes.
You don't have cupcakes in South Africa.
We do, but there
You
was
do.
something about the States cupcakes that intrigued me because I'm not a sweet kind of person, sweet tooth kind of person. I love salt,
Uh-huh.
salty, I like comfort food. But I love, love, love those cupcakes.
I love it. I love it. So, okay, so let's talk about COVID and how it affected you, because I think the world is seeing you continuing to work, and then the United States is like, we're in jail, we're in prison. So, when were you able to go back to work? And then how have you been able to consistently work for the last months or so?
I'm going to be honest with you.
Hmm.
It's been hard. Oh, it was so hard. At the beginning, when everything got, to a stop, I was about to debut properly Manon in Paris. And I wanted to go home. And then I went home. When I was home, I was in shock for a few months
Hmm.
and angry for a few months.
Hmm.
And the whole, just everything has just stopped. And then I went to phases of incredible depression. I'm going to
Hmm.
be very brutally honest because they you can see me smiling and happy, but I am a human being. I never stop. I'm not exempted from a human experience. And this COVID, what has happened, has touched us one way or the other.
Yeah.
Luckily, I was home. And you see, the thing about depression, you don't realize you have it. It's the people around you that
Yes.
say, hey, you're not okay. I'm like, no, I'm strong. I am positive, because I've spent the past 15 years on my own being strong and positive, prayerful, determined, kind, all the good stuff.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that the soul isn't hurt with all the rejection that you come against, all these things that you and your God know.
Yes.
So with COVID, everything just came like, we need attention, we need healing,
Yes.
I need attention. I'm a girl. Yes, the strong woman is resilient, but the girl is probably tired. The girl needs comfort. So luckily, I had my family who were very, very there for me. And I understood only now that I was going through depression. I didn't
Yes.
even realize it was depression. I was just not happy about things.
Yeah.
I was just crying most times. And so luckily it was like 4, 5, 6 months. And then things got better. And then I got to be grateful, actually, looking back at those 15 years, like, oh my goodness, I've been so blessed to achieve this, to count my blessings. And then I was like, oh, I'm happy to be home and not living on my suitcase.
Yeah.
Oh, I can just be home, no interviews, no,
Right.
I could just rest because I haven't rested for the past 15 years, basically. So
Wow.
in a way, I went through those seasons of gratitude, and now on the way back, I was just hoping that we could work again. And then I came back to Europe when things got a bit more complicated in South Africa. I thought I could come overseas because Europe was starting to work a little bit in the summer. And
Hmm.
then I was very fortunate to have these few jobs that I was able to do and to sing again. And I didn't realize how much singing is a big, big, big part of me.
Yes.
Like it's like my life, and so I've been very grateful to do this and be here. But it's been hard, very, very hard to come back because the machine doesn't work as fluently as it used to.
Yeah.
The body, the mind, it's like starting from scratch again. So to have that balance again and learning to be kind to myself and to be patient with myself, is where I am right now during these performances that I'm doing here in Barcelona.
And you're doing Traviata, yes?
Yes, it's my second production, and it's been wonderful, really, really wonderful experience to be in Barcelona, the theater. And I jumped in. I was not meant to actually come and do the role. I
Uh-huh.
was just here in Europe, and then the colleague cancelled. And when they asked, Pretty, are you available for it? I was like, okay, I would be happy to do the Traviata because I will go back to Vienna to do the same production that I did in Paris in February,
Uh-huh.
March. So I thought it would be a great way to come back and
And keep
still
it,
and keep it alive because,
yes.
yeah,
What a beautifully complicated, vivacious woman she is. Ah, she's delicious.
it is.
I love Traviata so much.
Me too. It's really one of my favorite roles.
Yeah.
I've always just wished to sing Traviata, but I knew that the emotional balance and technique and everything else, more the emotional part, because she's an incredible character.
Yeah.
And it's been a very enlightening to, test my waters on her. And I'm very grateful for the directors that have been, from the very first director that directed me, that I didn't make her old and
Hmm.
grand, because the perception is that she's a grand dama, but she's just a girl.
Yeah.
And so in a way to relate to her, because the mind had to be tamed again, and not to think that it's Verdi. That's what I mean, that she's not like a kind of
Yeah.
character. She's just a girl, but an incredible human being.
Yeah. And another one of the roles that I think is similar to Violetta in a lot of ways, and a role that I cannot wait to see you do. You have to come to America and do it. But this clip has whet my appetite so much. I'm so
Oh,
excited for her.
I'm intrigued.
Aussi bien que les souverains, tous m'inclinent au baiser ma main. Car
Wow. Wow. You're just singing high D's like you're doing your nails. Like, oh, okay, I'll just, oh, oh my gosh. So beautiful. So fantastic.
I've been told too many, I think I was told too many times that I didn't have them, that I had to work so hard to have them. I remember that was the first comment from Richard Bonning when I debuted Lucia, because I debuted Lucia with him. And he said to me, "My darling Pretty, have you always had these high notes so easy?" No. They told me too many times that I didn't have them, and I had to work so hard for them. I think that's the thing again about the mindset, because when I started singing, my mom actually said she would notice me that I used to enjoy singing high. I would not like wait to sing high. So it was there. Just that on the route, you get too many people with too many opinions, and
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you listened to your own inner voice and share those gorgeous, gorgeous high notes with us and all the rest of the notes too, because it's not just the high notes that are beautiful, it's everything else. But that high D in particular, I was just like, oh, she's just sitting on a cloud, doing her nails, eating chocolates, and she's amazing, amazing. I cannot wait. I'm going to ask the universe to have you do Manon in the United States or somewhere where I can see all of it, because
it's on the radar.
you're fantastic, fantastic. So what do you do in your spare time when you're not singing and you're not in rehearsal, or you're not on an airplane, you're not doing an interview? What does Pretty, the girl, the woman, like to do?
She likes to listen to jazz.
Ooh,
Yes.
I
Ella
didn't know this.
Fitzgerald. Yes. When I want to switch off and not think about music, because the moment I listen to the music, I work. I never stop. Internally, it never stops. Even when I go to bed, I'm gonna be thinking about, why does that note sometimes come right and sometimes not right? What happened in the rehearsal where it just works? And then when I got there, I never stop. The internal work never stops.
Yeah.
So the only way to stop that, I would listen to jazz or gospel.
Mhm.
And I love to cook. I am a Netflix girl. I love to Netflix a lot.
What are you watching on Netflix right now? Because Netflix is clearly saving so many lives in this COVID time.
Right. You know what? I've just started watching Kings of Joburg, which is a South African one. But I watched. What did I watch? That was the Chess Girl.
Oh yes, The Queen's Gambit. I just finished it. Did you love
And
it?
of
I
course,
loved
I
it.
loved it. Of course, I finished The Crown as well.
Oh, I haven't started the last season because I don't want it to end, and then I have to wait another year for more
Another
episodes.
year.
So I'm pacing it ever so
Right.
slowly.
No, I do that, and mainly because I learn a lot, because I love to act. I think that's my
Yes.
dream, to get to Hollywood. So that's the next dream. That's the next destination.
Yes. You know, Oprah Winfrey always says that when one of your dreams comes true, that's the time to dream another dream.
Yeah, because you reach a level and you're like, oh, I can go higher. Oh, there's this possibility. Oh,
Yeah.
so you soldier on.
That's amazing. I just adore you so, so, so much. So another regular question.
Yes.
What have been some of your favorite cities to visit, not necessarily to perform in?
Yes.
And then where are some of the places that you have never been that you really want to go?
Love Paris.
Mm,
I would live in Paris.
yes, me too.
I love Barcelona. I could live here.
Me too.
I
Oh,
love New York. I love New York. Oh, I'm always happy in New York. I don't know what it is.
you're always shopping in New York. shopping and taking you to find soul food, American.
Exactly.
Yeah,
In the hood.
yeah, yeah.
But I've never been to Sydney. I would love to go to Sydney.
Huh.
I've never been to Asia. So I'd love
Really?
to go to, no, I've never been to Asia.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I would love to go to those cities,
So
to
we're going to
those
put that out in the
countries.
universe. So Beijing and Tokyo and Shanghai, you have to call pretty. You have to, have to, have to, have
Yes.
to. And Sydney,
Thailand. Oh, I
yes.
love Thai food.
Thailand.
So I
Oh,
would love to go to Thailand.
absolutely. Absolutely. And then I wanted to ask you, if you're hosting a party and you have yourself and a table for 5 other sopranos, living or not, who would they be?
Maria Callas.
Oh, me too. Yes.
I would love, love, love to have Maria Callas. I would love, love, love to have Joan Sutherland.
Hmm.
I would love, love, love to have Mariela De Villa, whom I've
Ooh.
been very fortunate to have some lessons with her. Really, 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 really.
Oh,
I would love to have Beverly Sills. I would have loved to have a chat with Beverly Sills. Leontine Price.
that is the most amazing dinner party. Maria Callas, Joan Sutherland, Beverly Sills, Leontine Price, and Maria W. My Lord,
Yes.
what
I
a
mean, it
party.
could be like a huge party. I have so many more, but I
Yes.
would love to have this, the first dinner party
Yes, that's the first.
on the
That's,
pretty table.
yes. What a table that is. My goodness. My goodness. So how much longer are you in Barcelona, and then where do you go after?
So I am in Barcelona for another week or so because I have 2 more performances to do, maybe 3. And then I have the virtual gala for the Met on New Year's Eve. So I'll be going to Augsburg in Germany for
Uh-huh.
rehearsals. And then I'll go home for a few weeks
Yeah.
in January to be with the family. And then back to Vienna for the Traviata that we will be doing in the Vienna Staatsoper.
Fantastic. I am so excited for you and so happy for you, and that
Thank you.
things are going so well. And I want you to stay safe,
Thank you.
and I want you to stay happy. and, and hug the little girl on the inside, you know.
Yes.
And I am so excited for when you come back to America, because now that I know you like jazz, we'll have to go to Jazz at Lincoln Center, and we'll have to go to
Please.
the Blue Note. I'll take you to the Blue Note, and we'll do a whole jazz thing.
Fantastic. I can't wait. I really
Yes,
can't
with
wait.
cupcakes at the end.
Absolutely. Without a doubt.
I love you, my darling, and thank you
Love you
so
too.
much
Thank you
for
so
spending
much.
this time with me and sharing yourself with all the viewers out there. And yes, best wishes,
Thank you.
and be good to yourself. And everybody out there, on Monday's show, Monday at 7 p.m., Angel Blue will be here with me. Yay, Angel! So our regular time on Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Angel Blue will be here. And yeah, I'm excited for you, Pretty. Come back to America soon.
Thank you so much. And a big, big love to you and everybody who supports me. And I love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. Let's all take care of each other and of ourselves. And don't suffer alone. You are
Yes,
not alone. Just because everything is going well doesn't mean that the person doesn't need attention. And we get
absolutely.
through everything. And I can't wait to be in New York again in the States. And I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a beautiful 2021.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Don't sign off until I sign off the air. I'll say goodbye privately to you. Thanks,
Fantastic. Thank
everybody.
you.
See you Monday. Ciao.